Hi again, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Mad About Madeira. And here's another video. Haven't done one in quite a while, so I figure I might as well go ahead and do one right now. As you can tell by the topic, you can see what we'll be talking about today. Yeah, I'm trying to get this video in real quick. I have a time limit because my wife is keeping an eye on our little toddler, and hopefully he doesn't run out of the room and decide to come down here and pay you guys a visit, because then that'll just be a whole disastrous video after that. Probably have to delete it because he can be pretty active. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about this topic about boredom in Madeira. And the reason why I'm bringing the topic up is because I've seen a couple of comments made about that particular subject. One of them was from a person who looks like they just arrived in Madeira or planning to move there. And the question they asked of the audience, this was on Facebook, the question they asked of the audience was, hey, do you guys suffer from island boredom over there? You know, is it a thing? I didn't get a chance to read all of the comments, but I remember one comment that made me laugh. The person said, only boring people get bored. I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't get a chance to read all of the other comments, but you know, I'm sure that went back and forth. Then there was another individual who just moved to Madeira from Arizona in the United States, and someone sarcastically made a comment, or mockingly, I guess you can say, where they were like, yeah, you're going to go over there and just get bored. You know, in a couple of weeks, you'll have done everything that you wanted to do. And now it's going to be boring to you. I think some people went in on that person. Again, I didn't get a chance to read all of those comments either. I need to go back and take a look at those threads. But I would be lying if I didn't say that was something I didn't think about in terms of, you know, living there, us wanting to move there and thinking about like, okay, after a while you're on an island, how many things would you be able to do? What's going to go on? Aren't you going to get bored? Aren't you going to get tired of just seeing the same scenery? Aren't you going to get tired of just seeing the same ocean, the same mountains, the same hills, you know, driving through the same area on such a relatively small island? Those are things that I've thought about. But I'm going to explain something to you. First of all, as you've been following this channel, you know that I come from an island myself. I was born on an island and I was raised on another island, both in the Caribbean. The island that I was born on could fit in a corner of Madeira. So talking about island fever, or as we'll call it back then, rock fever, a rock in the middle of the ocean, that was a thing there. You know, that was a thing. The other island that I was raised on, St. Kitts, where my father was born, that island is about twice as large and still can fit in a corner of Madeira. You know, so you could also feel the same thing there too. So would I struggle with something like that? Would my wife struggle with something like that? Well, survey says this. As I've gotten older, I want my life to be much more simpler. I don't know anyone who's out there saying as you get older, you want your life to be more complicated and more complex. So for me, I want my life to be much more simple. Now, here's the interesting thing. I was raised on the island of St. Kitts, and I was raised in a rural area of the island. And I'm talking about a few decades back, mind you, where I was raised as a little boy. For those first few years when I was there, we didn't have electricity. We didn't have indoor plumbing. We didn't have any such things. So my entertainment, and the thing about it, the rural area where I lived, which is still so majestically beautiful to me. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and put a picture up here. There's one. Let me go ahead and put another one up. And perhaps a few others that I'm going to put up. This was what I used to see every morning, every day. Coming home from school, waking up in the morning, that is what I saw. The thing about it is that though I have traveled to different parts of the world and I now live in the United States, and I lived 3 times in the largest city in the United States, New York City, with all of its excitement, all of its lights and everything, my heart has always yearned for this. This is what I enjoy. This is what makes me feel alive. This is what makes me feel complete, makes me feel whole. It's not the bright lights in the big cities and so forth. People clamor for all of that. Though I've lived in that, though I've been around that, though I can hack it, though I can move around in places like this, that is not me. I prefer that simple life that you see here. Now people may say, won't you get bored and won't you? I can't say I would be. And if I need that electricity of the big city life or whatever, I can always jump on a flight from where I live here right now in South Florida. Don't even have to jump on a flight. I can just go down the road about 30 miles and be in Miami and see all of that. And I do enjoy that. I do enjoy seeing the neon lights and the bright lights and the city lighting up at night. I do enjoy that. I won't deny that. But when it comes to just feeling at peace, I need that tranquility. And Madeira strikes me as such a place. And that is why I don't think that I'm going to be bored. I don't think my wife will be either. And here's another reason why. Because neither one of us are party goers. We don't go club hopping. We're not into bars, that type of stuff. You know, we're more the picnic type couple. We're more the go into the forest type couple. We're more like the type of couple that's like, let's go for a walk on the beach. Let's go for a walk through this valley. Let's go through these meadows. Let's go take some pictures of the mountains. Those are the type of people that we are. You know, we're the type of people. So I don't see myself getting into a position where I can say, hey, I'm going to be bored. Oh, what is there to do? What is this and what is that? And when you really think about it, though I live in a metropolitan area right now here in South Florida, 99% of the times I see the same thing every day, right? I drive to the supermarket, the same streets. I go down the road to the mall. I pass the same places. Even going down to Miami, I see the same things. So it's basically the same thing. And if I need to do anything that's different or to get out of the area, I have to drive miles to get there. Or most likely, I have to jump on a flight and I have to take off and I have to go to, I have to get on a flight, you know, plan out my trip, and I have to go elsewhere. Well, if I'm living in Madeira, it's basically the same thing. If I want to go somewhere, I would have to plan a flight, a place outside of Madeira, obviously. I would have to jump on a flight or jump on a ferry over to Porto Santo, but I would have to most likely jump on a flight and fly back to the mainland. And then if I get to the mainland, like Lisbon, and I want to go to Germany, I'll have to get another flight again. It's the same exact thing that I have to do here. The only difference is that where I am, I can drive from where I am and drive up to the other 47 states. You know, I can drive to the other 47 states, and I can go ahead and do that. As a matter of fact, I can go to the other 49 states, even as far as Alaska. But who's into driving for all those hours? Most likely I'm going to jump on a flight, which is the very same thing I would have to do if I'm over there in Madeira. So when it comes down to boredom, I don't think I'm going to necessarily feel that. Again, I thought about it, and it wasn't so much because of me. I thought about it in regard to my wife, and I was like, yeah, no, she's not that type of person. As a matter of fact, she can tell you, when I go to Guyana, when I first went down to Guyana, and, you know, Guyana is a relatively large country, of course, larger than all the Caribbean islands by far, but it has a very, very small population, and 80% of the country is covered by virgin forests. So when you go there, you're not going to Las Vegas. You're not going to New York City. When you go there, you're not even going to a place that would remind you of Jamaica. You know, you're not going to see the beautiful blue waters that you're so familiar with in the Caribbean, because Guyana is a river community. So as a matter of fact, they have a lot of rivers, and those rivers flow out into the ocean, and the waters are brown. So you're not going to find that type of stuff that you find in the other Caribbean islands in terms of blue waters and so forth, right? But she can tell you, my wife is, she pretty much lived in Georgetown, which is the capital city. And while I did enjoy it and so forth, she can tell you my best memories was when we went into the interior of the country, a little further into the interior, to a town known as Bartica. And Bartica is a town that is like the gateway into the interior, into the forested area of Guyana. And while we were out there weren't any tall buildings, there weren't any highways, there weren't a bunch of clubs and a lot of electricity in terms of that. But she can tell you that's where I had my greatest experience, being in a place like Guyana. There's this little house here that was on the family compound, this house right here. And you know how often I revisit this picture because I just love what it did. It sat right there on the confluence of three of Guyana's rivers, including its largest river, the Essequibo. It sat there, and I'm just like looking out over the river, this vast river, huge river. And I'm just looking and I'm just looking around and I'm just like, wow, this is just beautiful. This is just amazing. And I went on the other side where I was looking at the other river, the Mazaruni, which you can see here. This was just around, literally around the corner, but on the same family compound, because you can look this way and see the Essequibo River, and you turn this way and you see the Mazaruni River, and they run into one another, which is why I said they are a confluence. But those views, that look, those are the things that I remember the most. They touch me the most. They inspire me the most. So if I had to choose over what makes me feel at peace, what makes me feel good, what makes me feel complete, if I had to choose over this and this, you could most definitely guess that I'm going to choose this. Now, I'm not saying Madeira looks like this or it's, you know, an area that looks like Guyana. They're a whole different geological landscape and so forth. And so I just decided that's what I want to do. So I decided that I was just going to go ahead and I was going to just pour my heart out into a place like Guyana and so forth. And just give me 1 second while I'm interrupting this video. I've got to go. My TV just unmuted itself. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'm back. So I did mess with my thought process there. But as I said before, I would prefer to be in this place over here. That's what I would just like to be. That's where I would just love to be. So when we go to a place like Madeira, that is what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking that is what is going to keep me going. When my wife and I took a drive, we took a drive out to Porto Moniz. We left Funchal and we went all the way to Porto Moniz. And as we were driving, we were just like, wow, look at that. And wow, look at this. And oh, look up there. We could sit up there and have a picnic, or we can do this, or we can do that. That's the type of people we are. So we weren't there looking for like, well, I can't wait for the weekend because we want to go party. We want to go clubbing. You know, we're not the type. So in terms of boredom there in Madeira, I don't think that would be something that will necessarily afflict us. If we feel after a while we just need to get away, we'll plan a flight. We'll go to the mainland. We'll come back to the United States to maybe visit some friends and some family, if it comes to that. But I don't think that's what we'll be doing. And I think one of the things that we want to do, one of the big reasons we want to also move to Madeira, is that we want to host our friends and our family. We want them to have a new place to go to, somewhere different to look at, you know. We want to be like, hey, come on over here, you know, instead of coming to Florida, which it's pretty nice here. I won't deny that. But we want to tell them, hey, look, come on over to Europe. Come over here. See what over here is like. And if you come over, you know, we can meet you in Lisbon and we can go for a trip over to Spain, or we can go up to France or something along that line. So those are the type of things that we're thinking about, and we just can't wait to get out of here. I know we've been talking about it for a while. I know we've mentioned it for a while. We've had a few hiccups. I shouldn't say we've had a hiccup because we haven't really started the processes yet. But the thing about it is that I had to get myself situated with a job that would allow me to work over in Portugal, because that's one of the requirements that the D7 visa requires, that you have a steady stream of income, or a fixed income, you know, for retirees and so forth, which we're not. Or if we're still working individuals, which we are, that we have a steady stream of income and coming from a job that you can do over there. Neither one of us right now are entrepreneurs. It's something we would like to do. So we don't have our own, well, we do have our own business, but it's, yeah, still there. We just kind of have to resuscitate it. So we can't really use that right now as something that's producing lots of funds that will probably satisfy the demands that the D7 visa is looking for. But we're hoping, I'm hoping to get started with something that's more a contractor-based type job where I can do it anywhere in the world and it won't be a problem anymore. So that has been the holdup, and I'm hoping to get started on that, because the minute I get started on that and I can put that down on the application that I have that going on and it's being a steady stream of income, and it's then after that it's a matter of just padding our bank account so we can open an account there in Portugal, and then we can make that move hopefully by the beginning of the new year. So wish us luck on that. Trying our best to really get out of here, to get going and start our new lives off over there in Madeira, where we won't be bored. So can't wait to get going. Really, really can't wait to get going. I sit down there, I envy the people who have made it there. Sometimes I have to turn off those channels that deal with Madeira, where I see all these people who are traveling there, who've made it, when they're flashing their passports and their D7 stamps and so forth. I sit there and I'm like, oh my God, that could have been us, you know? So it hurts to look at that sometimes, because I thought we'd have been out of here by next month, or October, I should say. We really wanted to be out of here by then, but it seems like we're gonna have to stick around for another 3 months and work things out. So if anyone has any advice on that, on how to make that better, how to make that easier, or how to get on over there much quicker, it would be great. But of course, it's going to take money, and it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some patience, as we understand. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can deal with that and try to get that out of the way, because we want to get out of here. Because right now in South Florida, where I am, there are things to see, there are places to go and so forth. But even me, I'm bored here, because it does not provide that sense of tranquility that I grew up with, that has not left me at all. So no matter where I have roamed and where I have gone, and I've been to California, I've been to New York City, lived there actually, I've been to all the states on the East Coast of the United States, I've been to Texas, I've been to Las Vegas, I've been to San Francisco, which of course is California, been all over, and still I haven't found that place that makes me feel like back home. So speaking of back home, that's a whole other thing, obviously. Some people may ask, well, why aren't you moving back to the Virgin Islands where you're from? I heard that place is beautiful. I heard you have beautiful beaches, but we have a whole lot of other issues that I don't want to use a video right now to talk about. But just put it this way: I always look at Madeira like a mature Virgin Islands, a mature St. Thomas, where I'm from, a matured St. Kitts, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of safety, in terms of progression. We still kind of linger behind with those type of things back in the Virgin Islands and in other places in the Caribbean. I don't feel like dealing with that right now. I don't have the patience for that right now. I have a young toddler I need to put in a pretty much ready-made system that gets him to move on, not dealing with the power going off every time you look around. And that's something we have to deal with, because if we're going to work overseas and we're going to be working from home, I'm going to have reliable power, reliable internet, which you can't always depend on some places there in the Caribbean. So here we are. That's where we stand right now. But anyway, I did tell my wife I was going to finish this in 15 minutes, so let me just get this video over with. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. So until the next video, you can subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, you can like, you can share, and you can definitely come down in the comments section and share your thoughts, okay? Anyway, you guys take care, and thank you again for tuning in. And this is me from Mad About Madeira. So until the next time, thank you.